Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to COVID winter. So as you can see, I am setting up at chez moi, at my home, because it's COVID winter and we're supposed to stay home. So staying home today. Didn't feel like packing up all this stuff and going to the studio. So we'll get moving in a moment once I get everything all set up here. How is everybody? Are you staying warm? Are you staying positive? Are you staying connected to your spirit, to your everything? Wow, connected to your everything. That's a tall order, huh? All right, maybe I won't put that much pressure on any of us to not feel like we have to be connected to everything. That would be quite a bit. All right, so welcome to our, what am I trying to say? Welcome to Home Yoga Practice Live. Let's see who's here. And I will get myself situated and sitting down. Let's see. Are you guys keen enough on our light? Do we need better light? I kept all of the bigger lights at the studio. So I'm just trying to bring in a little bit of better lighting. All right. Well, good morning. Whew. How is everyone? I know that I am feeling all of the settled into the unsettled, right? Trying to create a new schedule, trying to be okay in the skin that I'm in. Definitely grateful for my yogic practices, my Tai Chi practices, my Buddhist practices, to keep me, I don't want to say grounded. I feel like we overuse this term now, to keep me centered in who I am. Because then if I don't get rocked in who I am, I won't get blown away with all of the other stuff that's going on. All right. I'm going to keep an eye and see if anyone wants to give a shout or have any requests, just for a few more minutes, and then we will get started with our yoga flow. So checking in, seeing if anybody wants to say hello, type in a few words, anything like that. Because I can't see that all the time when I am doing this, Can't see all the screens all at once. All right. There's Puma. Okay. Well, I want to start in a nice, comfortable seated space. You can sit, you can sit cross-legged. You can sit on a block or up in a chair and rest our arms, sitting upright nice and tall. Inviting some quiet. Asking the quiet to enter us. Don't try to turn anything off in your mind. Don't try to turn anything off in your feelings. Just have an exchange with what is truly going on outside of you, with what is going on inside of you. We might have Kitty Rama going on here in a minute. I'll do a few clearing and cleansing breaths. Breathing in, lengthening. Exhale, hands to prayer. She must think that I have moved meditation to out here instead of the altar. She likes to sit with women and meditate. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breath in. Breath out. Simple twist. Simple twist. I'm going to walk it forward and I'll change legs for the next time. So I'm just going to let that upper body come forward. And lift myself back up. And I'm going to change my legs. And come forward. And just feel my belly and my back. My hips and my legs. And already I'm noticing like this urge to make it like, oh, I want that less tight right now. And isn't that really reflective of where I am in life? I want what I want right now. Well, guess what? You don't get what you want. Bring myself back up. I'm going to straighten the legs out. I'm going to just turn here. Shake them out a little. And then knees could be soft. But I'm going to come forward. My first forward fold, lengthening my spine. Hang out there for a moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. Had to lock up the bully. And I'm going to gradually come on back up. And I'm going to come to hands and knees. Position your wrists under the shoulders, knees under your hip bones. I like to just gently sway side to side. Checking in with my neck, my entire spine. Seeing if it really wants to go with the flow or if it's rigid, trying to hang on. Coming forward and back. A few cat and cow. So if you're just joining us for the first time, the purpose of this class or this live share is about developing that home yoga practice. How do I sit and find some quiet? How do I know what to do when I'm moving on my mat? So I just worked the spine in a few different ways because that's what I wanted. If you guys weren't here, I might just sit and move a little bit slower, a little longer. Feel out, what's moving as far as feeling the skin stretch in a certain area, feeling the flesh under the skin, feeling the attachments of the muscles at the bones. But I'm trying my best to kind of show my genuine first practice of the day with you all. I'm going to tuck my toes and lift my hips. I really like to get upside down rather soon in my practice. So my knees could be soft, pushing down and forward through those arms. You could tilt the tailbone up and down. Breathing in, breathing out. No rush, no hurry.
Now I just want to move and do a check-in on my body. So I'm going to start to find a few simple sun salutes. I'm going to bring my right knee down, stepping my left foot up, maybe grabbing it and helping it up there, being willing to give myself an assist, and bring the other leg up, breathing in, lifting the chest up halfway. Exhale, slowly, easily drooping the body down, and then rolling my spine up to standing. Breathing in, reaching up tall and long. Exhale, taking it forward, just feeling myself folding into me, moving for no other purpose other than to feel and connect. Lifting my chest up. I'm going to step the left knee back, place it down gently. Stepping the right knee back, placing it down gently. I usually like some of my first practices to be so soft, slow, mindful, careful, and then lay myself down with ease. Lengthen the legs back, gentle lift of the chest, cobra. Ooh, my back. I've been sitting at a computer terminal doing audio editing, video editing, so my back is really feeling all that sitting, which I don't usually do a lot of much in my regular yoga life. Tucking my toes, lifting my hips up and back. So already my body has started to tell me, oh, there was an imbalance that I've been sustaining and creating. So it wants me to have a little bit more time and attention on that. So you know what? I'm going to do another cobra. I'm going to bring those knees down and slowly, with kindness and care, lay myself down softly. Not really focusing so much on my strength part. I think all of the executing of work and task and that emotional stress has been a lot of efforting. And so softening lets me find some balance where I'm not always like, gotta be stronger, harder, right? Finding that balance. And I'm going to gently lift. I'm not going to go very far. Since my back has already been talking to me, I'm just going to use the arms a bit. I'm going to keep my hips down, check in, then I'm going to try to release the muscles in my buttocks. Fill up my belly with breath and try to softly and slowly work my way into moving a little bit of the vertebra in my low back. Breath. While I'm here, if I insist on multitasking, I could work my neck. But I really feel like my challenge, my job today, is to really listen and have some patience with listening in that space. And now I'm going to press my way up to hands and knees. I'm going to step my left foot up, step my right foot up, half flat breath in, forward fold. I'm going to hang out here now. Inverting, as I said in the beginning of our flow. Hanging upside down. Not having to have my body and my mind fight against gravity so much. If you think about it, much of our existence is in opposition to a natural force on the planet. So how often throughout our day, throughout our lifetime, do we live and exist in yielding, surrendering and bowing down and not having to have it mean defeat? It's just a different perspective. I'm going to bend my knees and lift my chest for chair. My weights in my heels. I'm going to let my belly breathe and go into an abdominal breath here. So I'm just going to let the tummy breathe in and out. Check in with my weight bearing on each leg. And I'm just going to come up to standing. I'm going to open my chest, open my heart, Feel the vertebra in my chest, in my upper back, my breastbone. How much can my breath expand in those spaces? Working my neck here. Ooh. I know that the imbalance in my throat chakra has a lot to do with an imbalance of silence. That I haven't had enough silence. Playing a lot of electronics, playing a lot of music, talking a lot. So I really want to encourage a bit of stillness and silence in that space. And I'll lift the wrists. Lift the chest. I'm going to soften my knees to forgive my back space. Breathing in, breathing out, and bring those arms up and over. Now I can let those arms go. I could bend the knees a whole bunch to make it a softer experience. And I think I'm going to do that. I've already said I need to be a little less rigid with my body. What I expect from it. It needs some comfort and consoling, just like my heart. I'm going to let those arms go. I'm going to step my right foot back, back foot flat. And I'm just going to embrace under this leg. Nice feeling of wrapping my arms around. I've been able to wrap my arms around my dog. She doesn't really like it that much, but she's getting a little bit more accustomed to the fact that I do it. But for me, this is a little reminder of, I could have an embrace. It's been a while since I've had a human embrace. Pushing that back leg down, pushing the front leg down, and pulling. Feeling strong and contained, solid. And I'll bring myself up, and I get to feel the back of this hip and thigh. I'm just going to rock my way in these hips. Straighten and bend, just lubricating, saying good morning. Feeling my physical being. Trying to ask my ribs, the sides of my ribs to lift and grow. And I'll bring those hands down and step the back leg up and trade it out. I'm going to step the left leg back, back foot flat. Maybe move a little so you guys can see that. I'm going to wrap my arms underneath of this thigh. I'm going to pull this right hip back, left hip forward, glue the legs into the earth, stand in them. Bring in tension, deliberate energy into pressing those legs down. Feeling the hug and starting to pull and resist. Feeling a little bit of heat building in my body. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then I'll bring myself up. Feel my hips. Feel my back. Straightening and sinking. Straightening and sinking. Ooh, that's a little tight right there. So I don't know that I've given enough communication and attention into talking about how often I practice and how often do you want to start to bring your practice into your life. I'm going to lift and grow, sinking, feeling the sinking and feeling the lifting. And seeing if I can try to find a balance in that where I'm not super duper lifting, not super duper sinking, not putting too much energy into either one. I'm observing what's starting to fight here. It's definitely starting to fight in that left hip flexor. And then I'll bring my hands down. I'm going to bring this knee down and step back to This nice easy plank, you could have an extended plank, but today I'm just going to keep my knees down, chest over thumbs. And I'm going to lay myself down with care. How gentle can I be? Sometimes I think about slow, and when I'm teaching slow and people hear and absorb the word slow, they start to think restrain. Slow is fighting against fast. Can we change that notion and start to think about it as gentle? I'm going to press down, lift, and already my back is feeling a little looser. Relax my tummy, my shoulders relax, working that neck. Ooh. And then the first child's pose. I'm going to widen my knees, sink my hips back, and explore a child's pose, maybe resting the forehead on the mat or on a block, filling up my belly with breath, softening my low back. So I truly believe that we need to find a practice in what works for us, as far as our schedule, as far as our ability, as far as our physical state and our emotional state. I'm going to come on up. Now feel free to get a blanket or a pillow. I might actually grab a pillow today, and I'm going to bring it underneath of my right knee. I'm going to step this left foot forward. I'm going to bend this right knee, and I'm going to hold the ankle or heel. Now you could just keep your hand down, or you could rest it here. And lift up in the chest. So there is benefit to learning kind of like a set system, right? So therefore the studio class environment is a great way to kind of say, okay, I'm going to do this thing every whatever day of the week or however many days of the week, and I'm going to get this hour and I'm going to do this sequence, and that's going to be my dedication to practicing. Some people go into learning Ashtanga, something that has a set sequence where you do the same postures in the same order every time, and then once they've memorized that, you have that. Vinyasa has Vinyasa Power Yoga has elements of Ashtanga, right? So there's always going to be some sun salutations. There's always going to be some fire space inside of it. Release that when you're ready, and I'm going to switch it out. Creating your home practice, you can just stick with that routine. That's a great way to start. A commitment to that routine. I'm going to step this right foot up, switching that out. But then eventually, we all have to find our way and find out what works for you. I'm going to find this foot and sit up. And start to be willing to paint outside of the lines. Because if we never paint outside of the lines, we're not really testing what is true and what isn't true, and how am I interpreting it. And that's the yoking, right? When we start to really get into understanding where our mind is and how our mind is seeing things and what we're interpreting, what we're seeing. And is that true, or are we reacting? Are we being present, or are we reacting? So I like to say, are you following a script, or are you practicing? Because sometimes all I'm doing is this rote thing. And it becomes like this chore that I'm looking at time-wise and going, I'm almost done. Okay, I need to do 10 more chairs, 4 more boats, 2 more warrior twos. And I didn't connect with a damn thing. I didn't make any space for my mind to really connect with what's going on. But I also know that that takes time for us to be comfortable with. Because oftentimes, especially for the new yogi, they roll out their mat at home and they go, what do I do? I don't know what to do. All right, I'm going to find down dog. Those hips, that hip flexor had felt really tight for me, so I wanted to let it open up. So what I'm hoping to do right now today is just kind of show you what I'm experiencing inside of my body and how I pause and spend some time with it. So I'm not sticking rigidly to that vinyasa flow because this is my home yoga practice. All right. I am going to bring my left knee down and step my right foot up. And I'm going to find a lunge, tucking the back toes. You can have your block here. So if you did 10 or 15 minutes, whether you just did a few sitting postures, I'm going to spin that foot flat and do that alignment, looking at the back of that heel, making a capital T with that back foot. And I'm going to find a side angle. I'm going to ease into it today. I'm going to just start with my elbow here and then see if my body wants to come down into it. So 10 or 15 minutes, you could just do sitting postures. You could just do standing postures. But that you let yourself say, okay, I'm going to feel out a mountain. And I'm going to notice, whoa, my mind got bored. Or, my hips actually started to talk to me in that mountain. I never noticed that before. Or, my mind ran off into 5 other chores that I need to do. And then that became what you practiced. And that's where journaling gets to come into a good play. I'm going to bring my hand down here. You don't have to. Pushing down through the baby toe edge of that foot. Feeling my low back. That's where I'm feeling this. I'm not feeling this in this leg here. Got a little bit of work in this front thigh, and that's all right. Rotating my chest. Now, when I say I'm feeling that work, I'm also making sure that I'm not getting into my aggressive, competitive sport mindset, and I can get there. So I'm trying to just say, how much working is that like doing? Is that a reasonable amount of work for it to be holding me? Or is it trying to do too much? Can I soften? Can I find that nice, gentle space? Breath in. Where's the harmony I can have with my body in this shape? Breath out. All right, I'm just going to bring my hands down and walk it around forward and make a nice wide-legged forward fold space and let my upper body hang. Now I'm noticing that the vertebrae in my upper back and neck are super tight, so I'm sending my mind into that space and say, can you let go? Can you let gravity have you? Usually with every exhale, kind of takes the pressure out of that chest and starts to let itself come down. Now I'm going to lift up. I'm going to spin on this right heel, bending that knee. Left heel. And I'm going to come over for side angle on this side. So 10 or 15 minutes in standing postures like this. You could go from your mountain to a tree. You could say, I'm going to work a couple of one-legged spaces and then open hip spaces. Maybe you want to do the chair spaces. Maybe you want to start to work your arm balance spaces, if that's where you are in your practice. And if you're like, what? Then that means you're not there yet, and that's okay. And there's no yet, like, you're advancing. All right, some of us have been introduced into arm balancing spaces. Some of us feel like we have a considerable amount of strength and containment in that upper body. And it's great to also just kind of learn and test in and see, what can my body do? How can I support myself? That's how I see those spaces as different. Saying, I'm learning. I'm going to bring this hand down here as I'm talking. I'm learning how to support myself and that my body is showing me that I am capable of supporting myself in so many ways. And wow, that just opens a floodgate of thinking and emotions, especially where we are right now, because some of us are literally in the midst of remaking ourselves, thinking about how can I literally financially support myself. Oh. And then notice what fights and resists that change. I feel it in my hips on this side. It's like, no, I don't want all that support. Breath. And then I'm going to bring the hands down, coming back to center again. Make sure that those feet are parallel. Don't want to put too much strain or stress on the ankles. I'm going to keep my arms out here, pulling the chest forward and placing that right hand down. And I'm going to revolve. Now I'm going to level those hips. See, I'm going to wiggle those hips a little. That hip wants to carry. It's not a sin. It's just saying, oh, my hips are not in a balanced space. Can I just ask my abs and my ribs to do the movement and my hips stay stable to help me stay stable? Breath in. Breath out. I think sometimes too much attention is brought into alignment as perfection. And I'm going to bring this left hand down and revolve. And it's not about, oh, somebody is doing it wrong. That teacher's teaching it wrong. Or that teacher's hips don't look like that other teacher's hips. Meh, that's all bunk. Where's my mind inside of this? As long as I'm keeping my body in a safe space, I am now giving some intention into, ooh, is my spine moving from the belly button? The freest space in my spine besides my neck? Ooh, can I breathe here? Can my hips be a part of the rooted structure of my legs? And I'm going to bring that arm down. All right, I'm going to come on down and bring this left knee down, do a parigraha, as these side hips are feeling really tight. I'm going to bring those toes and aim them forward. Back up a little bit. Have those forward. Try not to have them aiming out, all right? And so why? That's going to help stretch the sides of the calves, all right? Those forward folds really get us into the backs of the calves and hamstrings. And here, by having this leg in this position, we're going to feel the stretch along the side. And Lord knows if you've ever run a foam roller up and down on the side of that leg, you know that some tension resides there. Let's lengthen, breath, shoulders down, and then find this side. So why do we focus so much on shoulders down? It's about paying attention to where we're lifting from and what's truly creating space or what's creating like a traffic jam of bunching up. So the space I'm hoping to feel is to come from this area. Can this area move? Okay, because it's real easy for me to move that shoulder joint and say, look, I'm doing it. I'm just stressing out that shoulder more. I'm going to keep this hip coming forward, try to move, breath. Now I'm going to wait for it here today and just send my breath. Now for me, I spend a lot of time in my home practice feeling and counting and noticing where my breath is expanding into and where I feel it in my body. And then I also bring a lot of mindset into what's called the Svadhyaya element of our practice, self-study. So I might recite a mantra or some of the limbs of yoga. I'm going to come forward. Because if I recite them, I bring them to my mind. Yamas and niyamas, how I treat the world and how I treat myself. My moral and ethical behaviors. Asana, how I treat my body. How much I let it expand and grow into what it can do and where it can go. How it can support me and house me. My breath, how I'm giving it my attention. Letting it house me. My senses. Where am I in my attention on my senses? I'm going to bring this block on over to this side and root my hand here and bring my hips forward. What senses have I spent so much time with? Right now, can I cycle through my awareness of smell, taste, touch, hearing and seeing.
front of me. And I'm going to switch it out. I'm just going to bring this knee in and step this leg out. If you need something under your knee, always give yourself the support and the comfort and the ease. No deliberate torture. That isn't connection. That's not yoking. That's not unifying. Feeling out my hips. Woo! Y'all, something's in there. Okay. Not okay, but... Oh, I'm going to lengthen and lift, feeling this space. Connect with my senses again. Making sure I'm not rushing, that I'm really listening. And find this other side, pushing that hip forward. What wants to move inside of me? What's moving right now in my physical body that I haven't moved in a while? Not with this deliberate care. How does it feel to give myself that loving attention? That care? How does my body wear that care? Ooh, I just unclenched and my buttocks hadn't even realized it was clenching. And just feel the freedom that starts to ease into the fibers of my being. And I'm going to bring myself up. Rotate, revolve. Check in with my support structures. This hip is still a little, And then I'm going to come forward over this leg. And I've got to give it a lot more compassion than the other side. Ooh. Softening my neck and shoulders, observing where other areas of my body are starting to tense around any fighting area. And I've already said that this left leg is a little fighting, right? But quickly my shoulders and my neck wanted to respond and say, oh, we can do tense. Apparently that's what we're doing right now. Let's do the tense. And I said, no, I think we're doing the ease. So chill out. I know you're there for me when I need you, tense. You are going to show up. But I don't need you right now. And again, I'm reiterating that, I'm very conscious that I'm on a camera right now. So I think I would have spent a little bit more yummy time on that side if this had been solely my practice. I'm going to bring my hand to this block, check in with this hip over that knee, getting a nice stretch here, pressing, rooting, reaching through here, not through this shoulder. So I'm going to pull that shoulder in and allow myself. Now actually this side is like, hey, woo, push those hips toward the camera. Oh, now there's some yumminess right there. Breathe. I'm going to push that left foot into the mat. Breath in. Breath out. And then I want to bring my arms around, out in front of me. Okay, I'm going to bring that leg in. Now I'm going to invite us, because this is where my body wants to go, but I'm going to just introduce it in a really basic manner, and that's going to be a Surshasana space, a Surshasana A. And I know people are like, nah. All right, yep, go ahead and growl about Surshasana A. And then you'll hear me preaching about safety and blah, 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 and our neck and our cervical spine and blah, 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 and how I don't want anybody to be paralyzed and blah, 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 blah. So, you're welcome. All right. Now, we're going to interlace. I like to keep these two free, tuck this one under, wrap. Heels of the palms together. I affectionately like to say it's like playing volleyball, okay? So I'm going to keep that like that. And I'm going to bring that like this. Now I'm not clamping my head, so I've got a little bit of space. Actually, why don't we just sit here for a moment and see if you can bring those hands to your back and aim those elbows up to the ceiling and just feel that. Feel that right here. Also start to check in on any anticipation for anyone who knows some Sanskrit and they're like, oh, I know where we're going, oh crap. All right, so let's own right now that this is your practice. So you can observe, you can take something in, you could start to try something, and you could step away, all right? You don't have to do everything. All right, so I'm going to come on back down here, and I'm going to just aim it a little bit more. Getting that clasp, heels of the palms together. And I'm going to bring those elbows here. I'm going to bring my head to the floor, the very top of my head. So checking in here that it's not my forehead, it's not the back of my head. Straight down on where the soft spot used to be. And try to pull my shoulder blades up to the ceiling and just breathe right here. What's the fullest, calmest, most at ease breath I could have right here? If you want more, tuck your toes and start to lift your hips up for down dog with the top of your head on the floor. Pulling the shoulders up, tilting the tailbone up, pressing the heels down. That's all. Notice what's tensing. Same process. What's fighting. What's true, what's not true. What's that voice in my head saying? Even if it's saying, holy crap, I am the bomb. Is that true or is that ego? Breathe. You're just you as a conscious being in this shape, observing and trying not to be reactive. And I'll bring my knees down and bring ourselves up. So you can sit on your knees here. You could sit in what's called Virasana. I'm going to use a block, but if you would like to use a pillow, feel free to grab a pillow instead. I'm going to turn so you can see this space, all right, because this is going to be a contraindication for knees, sometimes for ankles, sometimes for hips, okay? So you could certainly sit like this. For some people, that's a whole bunch just to get the stretch in the tops of the feet. But if you come up, can you bring those heels out and feel this inward rotation in the hips? I like to even just play here and say, oh, do my hips want to stack over my knees? Or are they like, what are you doing, girl? Ooh. Now this is where the block or the pillow come in, where I can bring that here to bring my butt to rest on the block or the pillow, because many of us are not comfortable getting that butt to the floor. So by tonight, when my body is so warmed up and I will have moved so much, my butt's going to easily come to that floor. And but right now, my knees and my hips are saying, don't push it, Thurston. So I'm not going to push it. So I'm going to bring my block here, and I'm going to sit like a little birdie on her eggs in the nest. Inner thighs are together. Feet are out. Setting up Virasana Hero. This left ankle is talking, so it's following a theme that I'm noticing on this whole left side. A little tight. I've been carrying myself a little bit more on that side. I'm going to try to let my groin go because I'm noticing it's trying to clench, and so let go. Oh, that lets me sink down onto the block a little bit more. I'm going to bring my left ear to my left shoulder, my left hand up by the right ear. Asking my chest to stay up, and then just isolating the neck. Breathing in, breathing out. So I'm starting to bring some attention in my home practice, in my body, into my upper body now, right? My bottom body was talking to me. And, after that headstand, a little bit of pressure on the neck, it's nice to alleviate some of that pressure. Balance, equilibrium. Oh, yeah, there we go. It just started to say, okay, I trust you. I trust that right now we're allowed to relax. Because sometimes, Belinda gets into a relaxed state, and then I go up, and then I go down. Sometimes my body is just like, are we going to hang out here for a minute, or are you teasing? Chin down, I'm going to bring both hands, at the back of the head and press down a bit. But I'm going to give some upward energy in my head and neck. So I've got a little resistance. Oh, just a little. Back off. Don't go for the burn. Let it slowly and gradually ease its way. Because all we're doing is breathing and moving and observing. And I say all, slightly in jest, letting my arms go. Bringing my head up. I want to find the other side. I'm just going to work the neck first. And then come on over to the other side. Bringing that right hand up by the left ear. Letting that left arm dangle. Now, if you're tired in those legs of being here, just go ahead and sit cross-legged. Sit any way you want. And even start to notice, like, oh, yeah, I could have done that. Yeah, I did. I'm not saying that to shame anyone, but just to remind you, to keep pinging. This is yours. I'm sharing my practice with you. I'm not saying this is where you should be or what should feel good inside of your body. And it's such a powerful gift. Powerful gift. I'm going to let that hand go. And just start a few neck rotations. Just to work that around and out and in. Work that in. That awareness. Change direction. Bringing that gaze inside of me. Looking at how my physical body is reacting and responding. Looking at how my mind is reacting and responding. Nice. All right, I'm going to come off of those hips, off of those knees. I'm going to move that block out of my way. And I think I'd like a pigeon, okay? But first I'm going to work the hips and knees a little because we were on them for a little bit with some knee rotations. Get a little bit of core. And as I'm doing this, I'm trying to pay attention that my weight isn't shifting into one arm or side more than the other. Checking in on what's supporting me. Now, is the force of the quads, the thigh muscles, is that dominating? Or can my core catch up, change direction? That's a powerful engine wrapped around that thigh bone. And you think about your obliques and your core. It's not nearly as dense as the powerhouse of these thighs. Trying not to shift, right? Some of us, I'm going to exaggerate this. See how I'm shifting forward in those arms? Can I keep my weight? Yeah, isolating. And when you do start to isolate, you're going to be like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, protest, right? On strike, core, saying, I didn't sign up for this. All right, let's do our knee rotations here. I'm going to change direction. I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to step this right foot up. And before I go anywhere, I'm just going to sink back into a half of a split.
You could have that block under that butt if you prefer. Inner thighs together. And come forward. Now I am keeping this foot flexed, and that's really working on the stretch in the back of the calf and the hamstring. But because, I don't know if you guys heard me kind of go right off the bat, I'm going to let that go a little. Ooh. And that's just enough to let me say good morning first. You know, it's like you could bring me flowers, Belinda. You could bring me some chocolates. No, you just got to go get in there. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay. Here's some coffee and a cruller. Now I'm going to work that foot up and down. I'm going to pull my chest up. Alright, so I'm going to come forward. Now, I'm going to transition into the pigeon from here. So I'm just going to wiggle this foot on over to that side. Going to bring this knee down right here. And I'm going to walk that left knee back. Some of you might want to put that block under here, but my hip is going to come down. And sitting up. Now, because of the hip flexor stretches we've already done, and we did it in the Warrior One, we did it in that kneeling, holding that foot. And then this is a lot more of a back bend than that Cobra, if you remember the beginning of my practice. And already my back isn't talking the way it had been. I'm going to twist now to the right. Ooh, working on the lift, breath. Making sure I'm letting that tummy just expand out. And I'm going to come on forward. And I'm going to walk my way forward. Now, you could have your chair, you could have your couch right here. And you could be resting, chilling out. Others of you can say, I can chill on my elbows. Now I'm going to pull, lengthen the chest and the belly up and over. And see if I can let my body weight sink. How I treat others and myself. What my body is capable of. How it's carrying me in the world. My breath. How it's carrying my spirit. All of my senses. Am I giving them my attention? And what are they delivering to me in awareness? What could I be observing and feeling and bathing in my awareness of scent and smell right now? It is so worthy of my attention. Letting go. Letting go. And then I'll walk my way up. Hang on, I think somebody's coming to the door. It's called the mail lady. Alright. I'm going to get ready. Karma, come. Come. She is not your nemesis. Come. Come on. I'm going to get ready to find the split on the other side. And as you can see, I've turned direction. Karma, go lay down. Go on. I'm going to step the left foot up. Karma, down. Down. I'm going to bring the block now underneath of that hip. And sit down in that. Whew.
Feel this orientation of my head above my shoulders, above my hips. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to come up and over. Now this side, I've been able to keep this foot flexed. Feeling the back of that leg. Feeling how this side actually lets go a little sooner. It trusts. It allows. It accepts. And I'm still going to point and flex just to wake it up. Notice what I'm feeling a lot behind that knee joint and right behind the upper part of that calf. Nice. I'm going to take that and lift up. I'm going to move my block. Some of you might want to keep it nearby. Coming forward. I'm going to wiggle that foot over to the side, bringing this knee down. I'm going to snake this leg back. And sit upright to start. Woo! So I really feel that in my low back on this side. So I'm really feeling the price I've been paying for sitting in that chair at the computer. I really don't feel like there's any proper ergonomic way of sitting for hours in front of a computer. So it just affirms for me that that is not man's natural state. That's all it says. At least not this human's natural state. All right, I'm going to twist. Lifting my spine up and off of my hips with as much ease. Now I'm backing off because I realize, I wanted it so badly. I wanted that yum, that remembered yum. That, I needed to back off and just breathe. So I got confronted with my desire. I said, up. We're not moving according to desire. We're moving to connect and not react. And observe and be present. Present. I'm going to come out of that and then come forward on this side. So choose, and just because you went maybe to a certain level low or high on one side has nothing to do with this side. So be willing to greet yourselves on this side. Maybe get a book and park yourself for a minute. Not a video. Maybe music. Acoustic only. We want to let go of the distracting of the mind and notice how much we live in a state of needing our mind to be distracted, where we perceive that if my mind is still, that we are either bored or doing nothing. But existing is just existing. And what can we live? What vibrancy of awareness, what level of equanimity can we invite by finding some comfort and ease in being present, not distracted? That do is really burning that wick all the way down inside of us. And all I'm doing is sharing my lived experience, y'all. I got no superpowers. I do the same distracted stuff. I fight the quietude. Sometimes I crave constant stimulation. And then I remember my tools and go, all right, I think 8 hours of stimulation is enough, Thurston. I'm going to walk my way up. Bring that leg around out in front of us. I'm going to ease my way down onto my back. And when I get there, I'm going to hug my knees in.
I'm pressing my spine into the floor, rooting, feeling held, allowing myself to not be in control. I'm going to send the legs up, resting my arms down alongside my waist. Now, you could swing yourself with your legs up a wall right now if you would prefer. Pulling the navel into the floor, driving the heels up, seeing if I can try to keep my heels over my hips. Now I'm going to push both shoulder blades into the mat, feeling myself try to press a firm, flat surface into the earth. And then I'm going to decrease the effort and see if I can just let things be. If you need to use a strap to hold those legs, go ahead and do that. Find some ease. Now it's perfectly fine to stay right here with your legs up a wall, just sitting up into the air, maybe draped over a sofa. But if you want to join for Salamba Sarvangasana supported shoulder stand, keep your gaze up. Don't turn your head to look at this screen. Resting the arms. Going to use the arms. I'm going to lift the legs and use the arms to lift the back and bring my hands to my low back. Now I'm walking my hands closer to the floor, pressing up against my spine. And this is where, maybe putting a little bit of some gravity control on any flesh in our chest or breasts, whatever the fleshy matter is, so that it won't choke us. Trying to lift the chin a little, breathing, settling heels over hips. Now I'm working on trying to just calm my mind, calm my breath. Let the pose do me, and I'm not doing the pose. I'm going to lower myself slowly. Hug my knees in. Forehead to my knees, stretching out my back. And lower my back down. I'm going to roll over and come up to sitting. All right. Thank you for letting me invite you all into my home today and explain a bit about practice, explain and talk a bit about how we connect in with ourselves. If you're wanting to learn more about some of the elements that I'm telling you about, you could always certainly go and check out different posts on our blog at justbeyoga.com. But if you're looking for some reading material, I can't more greatly recommend a book called Heart of Yoga, by a gentleman named T.K. Desikachar, Desikachar, Desikachar. Learning about all of the limbs, learning about how various yogis over the years have kind of contributed into this pool, that's all. And we're all learning and feeling different essences from different instructors and different gurus and different wise sage people who wanted to reach a level of awareness to eventually be flexing our consciousness muscle, because this is the muscle that distinguishes us and gives us
some connection to something higher. At least we believe that other species are not necessarily aspiring in that direction. And that taking care of this helps us be able to get up in here, turn off the crappy knobs, and turn on the good knobs. The sutras are in the back of that. You can learn a lot about the yamas and the niyamas that I was telling you about. And then different ways of finding your practice. I'm going to close with Anulom Viloma. It's a pranayama, a nice cooling and settling pranayama. And as I've said about my practice today, I definitely feel like I've been doubling down on my fire. I'm going to need to work on some balance and slow some things down. So I'm going to cool myself and at least bring that awareness. Taking my thumb to my nostril. I'm going to use these last two fingers. I'm going to breathe up the free nostril. Close it with those last two. Breathe down. And breathe in. Close. Breathe down. Breathe up. Close. Breathe down. Starting to slow it down. Slowly breathe in. Close. Slowly breathe down. Slowly breathe in. Observe sensation. Close. Slowly breathe down. Inhale. Close. Exhale. Natural breath. Intending my spine to hold me with ease. Making sure the countenance on my face is relaying the state of my mind. Hands to the heart center, allowing an intention to come to me for how I wish to walk in the world today, and may I remember that intention anytime I bring these hands to my heart. My intention is to hold a space of loving kindness and compassion and empathy for a globe full of suffering. People who cannot distance themselves, people who barely have 2 grains of sand to rub together for nourishment, and still having to combat this assailant because they need to go and search for food and water. Holding empathy in my heart for everyone here, in our city, in our state, in our country, who is trying to comfort and console a loved one who is ill, maybe dying, or maybe has already passed. Holding space, loving kindness and compassion for everyone, for their space of fear and uncertainty and worry. May we all find some balance as we live in this earth and the cycles that it brings us, understanding that we're not in control. We never were. We never will be. All that is kindness and love in me recognizes that same space in you. Thank you all for joining. Tomorrow, Basics Yoga at 10 o'clock live, and 11:30 Empower Yoga. 1 hour, we're going to fire it up, get some movement going, maybe laugh, maybe fall. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.